this is Mamata Tharima, and welcome to another episode of Time Out with Mamata. Today, I have with me a young man who is a college graduate, an engineer, a good friend of mine, and above all, a good human being. Let's welcome Javon Campbell. Hello, Javon. Welcome to my show. How are you doing today?
Thank you very much for having me. I'm doing really wonderful today. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Really glad to have you. We have been together as friends for quite a long time now,
Right.
over 5 years.
Mm.
So I still remember the first time I met you. It was you were talking. You're talking with people. You're
Yeah.
just socializing. I don't know if you were making friends or not, but you were really talking, and you were talking loud.
I still
And
do that now.
yeah, and then you were very tall, and since I'm short, I was like, all the eyes go there. Who's the tallest? So, Japan, are you from Pennsylvania? Or were you born in Pennsylvania?
In regards to my birth, how I was born in Albany, Pennsylvania, and it was at a children's hospital on one of the coldest Arctic days of Pennsylvania throughout history. I really enjoyed it though.
So, who do you have in your family?
So I have my mother and my father, and we've had a lot of animals around.
No siblings, huh?
No, I was born an only child.
I see. So, what kind of child you were? A naughty one, someone who would seek parents' attention, or you were just lonely?
So kind of naughty in the beginning. I was very interested in many things. So like for example, if my father was to, buy me a toy, I was interested in how it works. So I would literally disassemble it just to find out how it worked, how the sound function of it came. And sometimes I would just take pieces of certain toys and match them together because I had my own vision for them.
Wow,
Yeah, I made my
you're
own
a
toys.
smart kid.
A little dangerous too because I remember sometimes I put staples in my hands, so it
Oh,
was
yeah, things
yeah.
things happen here and there. So, are you close to your mama or your papa?
Close to both. My mama, she's taught me a lot. She gave me a lot of Southern hospitality and treat me with it. Hence why, even though I'm born in Pennsylvania, I have a little twang in my voice, because of just how I was raised. My father, he had taught me some disciplines as well, pertaining to what men should do, how they should carry a level of excellence in their day to day lives. So for me, as I was growing up, my mother was very busy. She was a multitasker. My father was too, but I had more time to bond with him. My mother was very attentive towards my work, though. So every time I did see her, it was no playing around. It was always strictly to business with school and all
Helping with
education.
homework?
Yeah, making sure I, had the best grades of all in class
Yeah.
and everything like that. So it was very serious with her. My father, when I was a little kid, it was very playful most times. But as I grew up, I was just very adventurous. So I didn't like to, always be with my parents so much. I like to just go out and roam.
So you say you are extrovert, or you like to be around people that time? You are not the one just to like sit in the corner of the house.
No, I'm an extrovert.
Okay.
If I am to speak that. At first I didn't believe that. I thought I was an introvert.
Hmm.
But yeah, I'm an extrovert. Even
Maybe
my
you're introvert here.
Yeah, I'm an introvert here. Like I
Yeah.
love reading books, and I will gladly miss a day of meeting everybody just to read like a good book for me.
So, growing up as an only child, have you ever wished for a sibling, whether a brother or a sister?
I did want a little brother or a sister just to share my thoughts with because I seen all the kids around my neighborhood and in my schools. They had brothers and sisters,
Right.
but as I was thinking about it, I also had to reevaluate and appreciate the level of silence that I had too as being an only child. Because in that silence, I gained a lot of wisdom and understanding about myself and what I was going through. But I had some siblings that I kind of like grew up with. Most of them are sisters though. Yeah, actually all of them are sisters.
Why so sisters only?
Well, I was seeking brothers too, but it's just that a lot of the men that I was around was not much I can actually learn nor gain from them, and many of them just did not want to be around me a lot. So I was sort of isolated from guys a lot of times growing up.
So did it benefit you being around women? Did you gain knowledge from them too? Were you seeking for something?
I was seeking knowledge and understanding, but a portion of myself found it being one-sided, whereas much of my information, even to now, much of it has been given to me by women. So I've seen it only from one spectrum, and at first as a kid I thought it was perfect, but as I got older I thought it was somewhat biased, and it came from a place of hurt. So that's where I decided to, like, seek it from, like, men, understanding clarity, what's on the minds of men, because I didn't want it to just be one sided. So I mean, I did have my appreciations. Also, it helped me to cultivate a level of affection with women too, being around them so often.
Motherly love,
Yes, the
affection,
tenderness and all.
probably understanding women's emotion.
Actually, no matter how much you spend with women, there's only such a level that you can understand women at. Like,
We
you're
all are
still a
different,
mystery.
right?
Yeah, like, so they teach me about them, but the next woman is completely different.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so
Wow,
unique.
that's hard then, right? But were they comfortable with you? Like, so having a brother next to them, were they comfortable sharing their issues with you, whether it's personal or something career-wise, school?
Yeah, so they were really comfortable with just saying anything to me, just expressing it to me. I was very attentive to everything that they said, nor was I judgmental. I was just very approachable, but they would come to me, with their dating life, the guys that they're with, and they would come with the problems, the issues, and I would do the same, vice versa. I was quick to call out, like, shenanigans or whatever type of crap they were actually saying. So that's another thing that they appreciated about me being their brother, was I was not one to just tolerate whatever foolishness that they had to say, and I was not so hesitant on doing it. Yeah, it was deep. Especially as I got older, matters of realizing that they're not my blood. So some of my family would say I have no obligation to them, but to me, they were just as close to me as the ones that shared my same blood. So
Yeah, and I think also we women, I think, are comfortable with men who don't always remind us that we are girls. We
right,
are women. So that's when we get to share our shoulders with them.
oneness.
Yeah, personally speaking, that I sometimes just feel like I can be friend with a man who has that mindset too. Doesn't see me as a woman first. See me as someone, like, treat others as you treat your own flesh.
Right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's just something to add to.
No, I appreciate it.
Thank you. So Javon, did you get your education in Pennsylvania? Where did you go to high school?
I did get my education in Pennsylvania. So I went to two high schools. The first one was the Cardinal Doherty High School. After that, I went to the Arts Academy in Benjamin Rush to, like, move over towards graphic design and work more so with, like, an artistic perspective. And it was wonderful. Actually, very unique because they it was such a vast, like, as artistic as the work was, the music was just the same way with the students. There was no one that was the same as the other. There was no cliques, there was no cliches. Everyone was just unique in their own way.
Hmm. That's great. That's great to hear that you were exposed to creativity at an early age.
Yeah.
So, I would like to know more about your years in high school or just as a teenager. Have you experienced being bullied or cyberbullied? And also, were you victim of racism for any reason? Skin color or any distinct characteristics you have?
So I had actually faced, what was it? I wouldn't say bullying, but just, I guess I would say bullying. I just wasn't bullied for the normal expectation. It was because I was just different. I was bullied for that, used as a kid for my differences in size and strength. And even in high school, I was, although very social, I did not really have friends. It was more so situational that I had people around me. And really just being so dealing with a lot of people around me that did not like me, or just needed to use me for a situation per se. I was used to it. So when racial slurs started to come at me or anything like that, I didn't find it different from being approached before. I just saw that it was bullying for another reason.
Why they didn't like you? You wanted to do something so different. You were a pioneer of doing something. You were just unique.
I didn't fit in. My thinking was just a lot different from theirs. What they wanted to do, I just did not see the benefit of. And
You are not the followers.
yeah, I just don't like to follow. Yeah,
Right,
I
right.
just don't do that. And so because I'm not a follower, I'm what they would call a lone wolf, and they, and if you're a lone wolf, eventually find yourself surrounded. So that's what happened.
Okay, and did you get that kind of attitude from men more or from women?
I did get that from men, and at first it felt like that from men, but over time I knew that there was women that had their own way of expressing that matter in regards to disrespectful. So it was name calling. It was a matter of they would kind of downplay my manhood in a way, or just openly disrespect just how I act and behave.
Mm.
And it just made me feel somewhat different, or just like more so I had to change. I wouldn't say like more so I felt down on myself. I just, in order to, be with one of those women, I had to change. And yeah, it did hurt a bit, especially when some women would just really talk down to me, and then they would date the person that was right next to me just to show how I would just not be that I would just never have a chance with them. They would rather go for the man that they don't know, they don't like. And it was all just to show that I just would never have a chance with them.
Aw, that's sad to hear. But hey, on the bright side, I hope you learned something from those experiences.
Yeah.
So, if I can recall correctly, I think the first or the second year of our friendship, I came to know that you were making music, you were working with other people, recording songs. So tell me about it. How did it all start?
So I've always had I guess you could say it didn't really start with more so, I would say, yeah, okay. So it didn't really start off with music, it started off with poetry. As a kid, I always had a fixation. My mother exposed me to poetry ever since she wrote some for me and for my father. And I've been so fascinated with it. So I started to do poetry in school. Even sometimes for the guys that like to like certain girls, I would sell them poetry to others and so like that just
Wow.
for the sake. And as I got into high school, I just kept going with it. But as high school, I used to think that these could actually really be songs. And so when I had met a friend of mine's, Charles, after graduation, I found out that his condition, it got worse. He had issues pertaining to his hearing, and I think cancer started to arise too. Please don't quote me on that.
Hmm.
But after that, I had made a vow to him that I would, continue music for him to, spread that. And that's when I was introduced to R&B from like my father and mother, but I got introduced to rap.
So, did you and Charles want to perform together and record songs, or any other plans you both had for later?
So he was actually more the one that was planning out for things for later. I
Mm-hmm.
was like, I just want to have a good grade in class
Oh,
because I just, yeah,
and
I never
the
cared about.
music thing is like for
Yeah, the
fun,
music
like
thing
on
was
the
like for
side.
fun, but the more that I saw his passion for it, and when that condition kind of arose, that's when I was like, okay, I'm gonna be very committed to this. And that's when I met my music group in college, and we engaged. We made a whole group, and we were recording, performing at other places in
How many
Pennsylvania.
people were in the group?
All three.
What's the name of the band?
JIT.
JIT.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It's our
Okay.
first and official rap group.
It's good. So, what's the theme?
It was a little. of everything. It had a piece of everything to it. So not just for R&B, but sometimes for disses, sometimes for just to gloat or to be gluttonous about our own skills and capabilities. It had a plethora of different themes to it, and
Mm.
that also goes into the genres of it as well.
Okay, do you still do that? Are you still with JIT?
No, I'm not. There was a lot going on in my life pertaining to music, my relationship, work, money, family, even like planning committing suicide. And so what had happened was it wasn't even my focus on music anymore. It was just a matter of my own life and well-being. I was having panic attacks on buses trying to get home. I didn't know what to do, and so I called my friend just to speak to her. And she had a, I don't want to say, like, she had a faithful relationship with God. Well, she still does, but I was speaking to her about this in regards to, like, getting wisdom, like understanding, and I just needed help. I didn't matter who anymore. And she recommended me over to God and just talked to me about God. And what happened after that was I had made a deal with God. I said, God, if you can get me out of this, all these situations at once, I'm all yours. After, allowing God to just take over, everything worked out within, I would say, about 3 to 4 months. Everything worked out, balanced out.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, and from there on out, I had left my relationship with the woman I was dating. I had stopped making the same music, so I had left JIT, and I had given my life over to Jesus Christ after that.
What was life before?
So growing up, my father did introduce me to church and everything of that nature, and I really just did not like Catholicism so much. I thought it was very strict. It was very orderly. There was just nothing that really agreed with me to it, and it was just out of obligation. Although I appreciate and I thank my father for it, but I just didn't see anything to gain from Catholicism. But I did believe in a God.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but in regards to how I was beforehand, until I knew God, I never realized I was quite numb. I had thought I had, answered everything. I was like thinking of so many stories for years to come to share with my children. Really, after discovering God, I realized I didn't know as much as I thought I did. And I had to really reevaluate my whole entire life.
Mm.
And I had to apologize to the people that I had hurt. Apologize to the people that I had given them false hope for,
Mm.
because after receiving Jesus Christ, it all came clear to me.
Everything changed, right?
Everything from my
Everything.
character, from the people I associated with, to even my expectations for myself later on down the line. Even how I approached you too. Like, it's been much more deeper in the
Yeah.
latter of our connection than even the former.
Right, right. Wow, that's amazing. Well, shout out to the lady, beautiful lady, young lady who held your hands and introduced you to faith. To I mean, with whatever she practiced, she just introduced you. It was your choice to whether to accept it or not.
Thank you.
Yeah. You are a civil engineer now. I
Yes.
said, and also on the side you do graphic designing. What else you do?
I do have a ministry
Mm-hmm.
called Management Ministry that I have actually started for about almost a month now.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Congrats to the audio engineer too. She's amazing.
Thank you. I actually saw the logo. I loved it. Like
Thank
you
you.
made it. So two lions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So why two lions? No tiger and lion. It's just two lions. One a big one and a baby one.
Thank you for bringing that up. So, really, the two lines, when I was sitting down and seeking God about the design, I was wondering, like, I didn't want the cliche line every time it refers to something with God and men. I wanted something that was unique. And the Lord was revealing to me a lion and a cub. And when I saw that, I was wondering, what does this mean? And so, in our eyes, for some men who have a children, we are sometimes the young lion that looks up to
Hmm.
God, and to some of our children, some of the children, they are like the young cub that looks up to the father, who is looking up to their father. And to God, we will always be that cub to Him that are looking up
Hmm.
to the headline, to our Father. So it's always the direction of
That's a good interpretation.
yeah.
That's
It
deep.
it is. Thank you. I had spent many like a long night just trying to discover that, just to appreciate how it's okay to look up to someone, for everyone, and everyone needs someone to look up to, whether it be their parents, their mentors,
Mm-hmm.
someone to keep them accountable to, or all purpose for God, that you would look up to the Father at all
Yeah, we
times.
all grow up following someone,
Yeah.
Sometimes we can't keep following one person entire life. It changes sometimes, and sometimes it stays forever.
Yeah.
So, what's the motivation? What's the inspiration to start doing management ministry? Is it just particularly focusing on men, or is
Um,
both?
it's focusing on God first and foremost.
Okay.
But it's to bring back men to be the pillars of the church, the pillars of the house, and it's also to bring awareness to our women. So for women who may be wondering, why are men sometimes inconsistent? Why do men say they want to be with you and their actions say something else? I
Mm,
mean, yeah, you have dating coaches and things of that nature, but it really comes into a deeper spectrum, especially women who even desire for men to come back into the church and, like, operate and function. And learning the word of God, learning, understanding, and growing in the word of God, I had understood that there was a depth in it that really needed to be shared with many men. And by management, it doesn't regard of age. So you can be as young as me, younger than me, or even older than me.
okay.
And you can still grow from this.
Of course,
Yeah.
always room for growth.
Hmm.
It starts with your willingness,
That's true.
if you want to grow or not,
That's very
or
true.
stay in the same place forever.
Hmm.
So I have some Q&A.
By all means.
So, what do you know now that you did not know 3 years ago?
Really, I think it's my potential. What I was able to do, what I actually have been capable of doing beforehand. And I think it's just like how, as a mother or father looks at their child when they're first born, like they're just seeing the baby, but they're also observing the potential that will come from
Mm-hmm.
years from now.
Right.
That's how I kind of observe myself, like, years from now, like, wow, thank you, God, for just revealing to me the potential I carry.
Mm. Did you have any kind of aha moment that made you rethink your approach?
Those aha moments really came from me just thinking in my head. So, like, for example, sometimes when I would make something, like a table or so, and there were instructions, sometimes my pride would get in the way, and I'm like, I don't need instructions. And so I would spend hours trying to build this desk that should have taken like maybe 20 minutes, but my pride would just not allow me to. And then I, I remember, I was doing something for my spiritual mother like years ago, and what happened was, it was literally the same thing. I did not want to look at the instructions. I was so confident in my skills at building, and it turns out I build it backwards. And they're like, you know what? That's fine. That works. You'll
Yeah.
fix it another time. And yeah,
So, what's your plan, young man? Say 5 years from now.
so 5 years from now, definitely will be married before 5 years. The expectation is for the men's ministry to, become much more out there, meaning, like, for example, they will have programs that will teach them like certain foundational levels of fashion and style, and then like going into like how to build a resume, how to approach relationships, not just with your significant other, your wife, but your child, your father, how to do that, even if you may not have them in your life, how to be healed.
Hmm.
I expect for that to arise too. Some other things too, in regards to myself, I plan to, even by 5 years, to have gone through a couple of states spreading the word of God. That is my desire. And really to see more of the world. not just from the lenses of, like TV and things of that nature, but in person.
Yeah, traveling is great.
Yeah.
That helps people to clear up some stereotypes. Just a new level of seeing world.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
tell me where people can find you.
So you can go on to Facebook on Management Ministry, MAN period AGE period MENT period ministry. And you can also use the same way to go on to YouTube. So there is a YouTube and a Facebook for it. And an email too. MAGE ministry, MAGE ministry at gmail.com.
Great. Thank you, Javon. It's a pleasure to have you here. Really, you have such a great story to share. Your life's ups and downs, these transformations. And I hope some of our listeners can relate to your story. Some can learn something from your story, or some just enjoyed listening to our talk. So thank you, and thanks to our listeners for your time. Until next time, everyone take care and please stay safe.
Thank you. You too.